Teachers of Reddit, who was the worst parent you've ever had to deal with? I was teaching a sweet 13-year-old girl who obviously couldn't see the board very well and needed glasses as she was falling behind in class. I called her mother. Now this is in South London, so imagine a Jade Goody voice. Her mum told me to stop calling and that I didn't need glasses, my mother didn't need glasses, so she doesn't need any glasses, and hung up. In that situation, you just feel for the girl. But sight tests are free for under 16s under NHS opticians. Surely she could have at least gotten them checked. As a music teacher, I had a mother of a student who would crash choir rehearsal for our Christmas concert and try to demonstrate how she had learned to sing "Oh Holy Night" when she had been a student. Not only was her pitch 3 cents short of $1, but it took the principal and custodian to escort her out of the rehearsal room. For their part, the students thought it was a planned comedy. It, however, was not. There's always those chorus kids who think they're there to stand out. And as a former chorus kid, thank you for all you do. Haha. Chorus can be the toughest class to teach because it's always full of those special snowflakes. The only reason your voice should stand out is if you're the only member of your group in chorus. Being the only male suitable for concerts isn't easy. Beat her kid, sent her back covered in bruises, then threw an absolute fit when we filed a CPS report. We're mandatory reporters, you stupid woman. Wow, some people should never be parents. Not a teacher, but I had a friend who was a preschool teacher. She had a kid that told her she hated seatbelts and won't wear it on the bus. Friend spoke to mother about it. The mother said she screams and refuses to wear it in the car, so she just gave up. The mother was speeding to get to the hospital on a rainy day. Kid in the backseat jumping around. She hit water and skidded into a tree and the child was ejected. Died on impact. And you can't even say anything because then you're a heartless monster who doesn't understand their pain. My father once had a parent pull a gun on him during a parent-teacher conference. Eventually they got him to calm down and put it away. That's one way to try and improve your kid's grades, I guess. Any parent of a college-age student that thinks they still need or can do anything about their child's grade. I've had at least one student all 4 terms I taught freshman biology. Labs call my admin about why there is someone with a BS in physics teaching their precious child biology. What does he know about grading lab reports? And they need to change their precious child's grade on the last report that was supposed to be 10 pages with graphs. Their innocent perfect child turned in only 1 page with no graph from an F to the more fair A grade. Was an athletic coach at the university level, and this is even more of an issue. Athletes' parents are the worst. I had one mother email me daily about why I should put her child in the game, giving me stats, etc., like I didn't have access to the same information or that I wasn't watching practices. At this point in your child's life, you have to cut the cord. Your child is being paid athletic scholarship to play here, therefore it is their job. Would you email your child's boss with reasons to give them a raise? Parents can be crazy. I had the parents of a Muslim student demand to me that their son be excused while my student teacher taught lessons to the class because she's a woman, and no son of theirs would be taught by a woman. I told him that's fine, but he's still responsible for the materials he missed. This would be every class over a 3-week period. They freaked out, called me a racist, and went to the principal over my head, who promptly told them that their son would be responsible for any material he missed. So weird. Most Muslims I know, mostly South Asian, come from cultures where teaching is oftentimes seen as a feminine job. Local drug kingpin, unconvicted, knew exactly how much he was legally allowed to mentally and physically abuse his daughter. I got nowhere with social services. Probably murdered her mother. Never indicted, no witnesses. Sorry for the terseness, but I hate thinking about it. Well, I think we might have found our winner in the worst parent category. I was teaching high school in the South Bronx at the time. A student of mine had just assaulted another, and I had to physically restrain him until school security showed up. As I held him back, and he wasn't a small kid, he called the dean offensive names. Obviously, we had to call his mom in. The first thing she said when we sat down was, "How did you all get my number? I thought I gave you a fake one." She proceeded to not care about the fact that her son was on the verge of expulsion. He didn't come back to school the following year. This is why I gave you all a fake number. I didn't want to deal with this parenting nonsense. That's why I sent him to school. I used to teach this little boy who was so disruptive, he would shout and pinch the other children in the class. And when I complained to his parents, they said that he was an angel at home and were shocked that I was saying that their boy was disruptive. They even said they thought I had the wrong child's parents in. It's not uncommon for children to behave very differently at home versus at school. This is easy. This was over 35 years ago. I once had twin girls in my sophomore general business class. They were nice girls, didn't talk much. It didn't take me long to realize that they were struggling. They never completed any quizzes or tests, just returned the papers blank. No homework. I tried contacting the parents and I couldn't reach them. Talked to the principal, the counselor, the social worker, no luck. Finally, I went to the house. The girls were there alone and said their mother was at the store. I stopped back at the house a couple of times later in the week. Still nothing. Eventually, the girls didn't show up in class and the principal said they had left school. I never met this parent, but she was definitely the worst one I'd ever had to deal with. Jay's mom. This story is a colleague's. The science teacher said, "For this unit, I'll be taking you all to Mars." Jay's mom comes in person, yelling about how ain't her kid going to know Mars? She ain't give permission for that. True story. That sounds like some sitcom stuff right there. I hope at least she changed her mind and insisted that the kid would at least wear a sweater. I had a parent call me because I took away her daughter's iPad. She was 8, and telling the other students that if they didn't own an iPad, it's because either their parents are poor or didn't love them. The mom came in and before the meeting could get underway, her phone rang. She didn't excuse herself and began having a business meeting right in front of me. She even got out her iPad to take notes with her super long fingernails tapping on the glass. When she was done, she thanked me for everything and left. This is where society is going. I'm 22 and I fear that by the time I have kids, it'll be mandatory for them to have the newest fancy gizmo with tons of unneeded bells and whistles when they first enroll in kindergarten. Apparently at one teacher's retirement speeches, he recalled a parent he had to call multiple times to explain their son's poor behavior. The parent responded, "I don't call you when he doesn't clean his room. So don't come whining to me when I waterboard him." My grandmother has been an English teacher for many years at the high school and college level. While teaching high school English, she was contacted by a parent that complained that her child didn't feel comfortable that a Confederate flag was on display in the classroom. Needless to say, it was an English flag that was on display. Do you mean UK flag? The St. George's Cross, the English flag, also the flag of the city of Milan, looks very little like a Confederate flag, but the Union Jack looks similar if you switch around the colors. I taught first grade. One of my students stole another student's juice during lunch. So I wrote a note home to his mom to let her know. She wrote "liar" on the note and returned it to me the next day, so I called her. She then screamed at me and my assistant principal that we were making up lies about her angel. I don't have time to pee most days, but this woman thinks I have time to invent stupid lies about her terrible kid. Then she decided she was done talking and sent her baby daddy to kick my ass. This woman sent a grown man to an elementary school at 9:30 on a Tuesday to assault a teacher. I had to take my class to another teacher's room, and all of the first class teachers had to keep their doors locked because her son stole another kid's juice. You know you have a problem when a grown woman with a kid writes "liar" on a note and returned it. Well, I'm not a teacher, but my girlfriend is teaching French and Czech language on one lyceum with higher class students, kids of politicians, actors, etc. And one day they had an issue of cyberbullying. One of the kids was sending messages over Facebook with sexual proposals, from oral sex requests to raping threats. Well, the girls were scared, printed the conversation and brought it to school. When the parents were invited, they protected the kid by saying that the conversation is faked and that they will call their lawyer if this issue is not immediately stopped. Also, IRC, they were sponsors of the school, so that makes it even harder. But in the end, they gave him some official warning and bad evaluation of behavior. Not all of us are terrible, but we also looked like hicks when we were invited to country clubs. I don't think anyone knew my family was pretty wealthy because we didn't act that way. My parents never flaunted their cash, so I could get away with stuff when I was a kid. I was a year out of grad school and teaching college freshmen for the first time. I had this one parent who fought all his son's battles. He was outraged I gave his son a B on a paper. He actually came to my office and argued with me. He told me he had a PhD and was smarter than me. Once the kid misspelled my name on a paper's header, and the father insisted his spelling of my name was correct. If his father had a PhD, he should understand the concept of meritocracy. Not a teacher, but a parent, so you interact with a lot of teachers. I can tell you that the parent who can see no flaws in their child and can't accept the fact that the kid behaves differently when they're not around are a pox to the school system. Listen, lady, Ethan, Logan, Dylan, Tyler, Aiden, or Jackson are mean little troublemakers that don't listen, and I'm guessing it's partially your fault. Yes, I worked in an after-school program when I was in college, and I had a kid in the program who was such a little troublemaker, and his mom thought he was an angel and could do no wrong. When he got in trouble, she would either not believe the teachers and would believe whatever story her son cooked up, or would blow it off with a boys will be boys attitude. She was the worst. I volunteer in a second grade classroom. I was grading a paper, and one of the students had written he was thinking suicide. I showed the paper to the teacher. She reported it and spoke with the student. He said it was lyrics to a song but became upset when asked. She called his father to let him know she was concerned, and he laughed. We're pretty sure they're not lyrics to a song, but we let the dad know that that's what he had said and that we were concerned. Seriously, I hope they take it seriously. I'm a new teacher, so not a huge well to draw from, but we had a parent-teacher conference this year with the parents of a kid who was and is failing abysmally. In that meeting, the father of the student said that he knows exactly what us teachers are dealing with and going through because he took education classes at a community college so he could learn what teachers learn. I looked at a co-worker of mine in the meeting and had to hold back a laugh. The way he said it was so condescending it was almost funny. That was 4 months ago and the student hasn't improved and the dad won't answer emails. Hey, he took classes on teaching, not on answering emails. Give him a break.